All
All
right,
right,
we're
we're
live.
live.
Hello,
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 everybody.
everybody.
This is Arit here, and I have Jewel as well on my side, and on my farther side, I have Lucius Blackworth and Miss Blue. We are all coming here today together to talk to you guys about some really, really interesting stuff. Jewel and I were part of we're part of the Essetino Connections team, and all four of us here together are here to talk to you about something really, really exciting that's about to happen. And the reason why we were bringing Lucius Blackworth and Miss Blue along on this hangout today is to give you guys a new member's perspective on what it's like to be in Empower Network and why would you even join Empower Network and what the heck is Empower Network, because some of you guys might be hearing the buzz about what this new blog beast thing is coming out. And by the way, if you stick and listen to the entire hangout, we'll mention something about that at the end of the hangout for you guys. So well, why don't we just get right into the questions? Jewel, do you want to ask your first question?
But yeah, before I get into that, just give a little bit of a story about me and you, Reet. Both Reet and I know each other from high school. We went to high school in Richmond, and we knew each other since grade 8, which is crazy because I had braces and blue hair and overalls, and Reet had pink fluffy pens, and I think you had like bell-bottom type pants right at that time.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
they were
actually
actually
like
like
metallic
metallic
red
red
bell
bell
bottoms or
bottoms.
something crazy. We weren't
We
in the
weren't in
70s, but I
but
just
I just
decided they looked cool. So.
So yeah, Reed and I knew each other in high school. Reed was supposed to be a doctor. I was supposed to become this nurse. It was both like my parents really drilled that into me in high school because that's all they ever really knew. That's just if you were a Filipino female, you were to become a nurse. That's just how it works. Yep. And yeah, you guys know, right?
Oh yeah.
And I didn't question it. I just was like, okay, I guess that this is my calling. And then, I went into college and university here, and I was becoming really unhappy because that wasn't really what I was meant to do. I was just doing it just because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So, I dropped out of university the last year of completing my whole like nursing thing and going into that whole thing, and that really didn't go over too well with my parents. And Arik did the same thing. She took the MCATs twice in the States and was ready to make that plunge to be the doctor. And she decided she wanted to become a singer, and I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And it was fun. It's weird. It kind of happened around the same time, 2010, and we both, ironically, got jobs in downtown Vancouver on the same street, 3 buildings away from each other, around the same time. So, and I was in insurance, and she was in like psychology or something to do with psychology, and it was just really random that her office was 3 buildings away from mine. So we could have like lunches and stuff, meet up and things like that. But anyways, after working 2 years in the cubicle, I started, these thoughts started to come into my head, like, is this really it for me? I'm in my 20s. Is this what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 to 30 years? And I was like really shocked that this is what my life had amounted to. And Ari was feeling the exact same thing. And I found this book called The Secret. I went to Chapters, and I was wandering around one day because I was waiting for someone. And this book caught my eye. It looked really medieval and old looking. And I picked it up and I went to the lady who worked there and I said, what is this book? It looks really old. Is it new? And then she said, oh, that's The Secret. You've never heard of that? It's a really popular viral book right now at the time. And I was like, what is it about? And she said it's about the law of attraction. And I said, what the heck is the law of attraction? And then she's like, read it, and just if you're new to this, just take it and read it, and just have an open mind. And at that point in my life, I was looking for anything new. I was so tired of my life, and I've honestly felt like I was like a hamster in a wheel because every day was the exact same thing every day at this insurance job. It was answering the call, the same way, taking the same calls, ending at the same time, the same pace, same this, same that, and it was just eating at me. So when I saw this book, and it was like Law of Attraction, I welcomed it. I read it with an open mind. It was really weird at first because I did not know that this type of thing even existed in that type of world. And, I passed this book along to Ari. She read it. Uh, she got interested in that whole thing as well. And, fast forward, we went through this whole entrepreneurial spiral of wanting to be free, getting rid of our jobs. That was our main goal, was to get rid of our jobs so that we could do our passion. And my passion was to be a successful Filipino entrepreneur, because my mom told me that there are no successful female Filipino entrepreneurs, let alone Filipino entrepreneurs. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And she told me that, nope, that's not how it goes. Name one successful Filipino entrepreneur. I couldn't. And then I said, you know what? Doesn't matter if I can't name any of them, I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to be the first one in the family, and I'm going to put us on the map. So my mom still thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. And Reed, you can tell a little bit of your side of when you announced to your parents that you were going to become a singer.
Oh God, it was one of the scariest moments in my life because I come from a very studious and academic background, and same as well with Jules. If you just want to mute your mics,
Yeah.
So I have like a whole sort of studious background on, you gotta go to school. This is what my parents taught me. You gotta go to school, get your degree, and also get your master's degree as well if you can, if your PhD as well, and get a good job. It's gonna pay you well, a stable job, and it's just like I had this like script laid out for me when I was going to school. I went to the University of British Columbia and took psychology and stuff, and I just kind of felt like a robot. Like, I don't know, just I didn't have this fire in me like I have right now. I didn't have this passion, this purpose. And, music and singing has always been my passion. I just never thought of it as something that I could pursue and something that I can actually do in life. It's just like, because I was just taught, oh, it's just kind of like a hobby, singing, whatever, that's not real, right? So I never really actually took it seriously. And after I graduated from UBC, I had the opportunity, and I took the MCAT twice, and I was like, okay, you know what, let me just take a break here. Let's go work for a bit. So I found a job. And in that year after I graduated, I had the opportunity to get involved with a school that taught singing lessons and just all about performance, and also they had acting lessons as well. And I got the opportunity to go to convention in LA and Vegas and perform there, and I brought home a trophy in the singing division, and it was just so amazing. And going through that experience and the way that I felt there on stage, like I performed at the Venetian, and just the way that I felt while I was there, it was just something I've never felt before. It was like a spark, this electricity, and I knew that I was not meant to go be, tending to people's health for the rest of my life. Like, don't get me wrong, the medical field is awesome if that's your passion, and it's brilliant, but it just wasn't for me. So from that, I got involved with a recording company, and we went on tours, and I went through the artist development program, and it's so amazing to see how the little pieces fit here and there, and they just kind of fall into place. As long as you're following that passion of yours, and you're following that feeling of happiness and where you're going, you just kind of find yourself in these situations, and you attract more opportunities that they just feel exciting to you. So that's a little bit about my story. And yeah, and telling my parents that I didn't want to go to med school, it was just like it was one of the biggest breakthroughs for me, because I had to face a block. I had to face a fear inside of me that was just eating at me, and I knew I had to talk to them. I couldn't just go on without, without talking to them about it. So sometimes we got to go through those tough times, right, Jewel? It's just the way it is. And
Oh
I'm sure
yeah,
you
I don't regret any one item in my life, because if I change one little tweak, I might not be here right now. I might be somewhere else. Might be a nurse right now or something. Unhappy. But anyways, that's just a little background about us. But we wanted to talk to you guys about Black and Blue. So, how did you guys find Empower, and what made you guys decide to join?
Um, I found Empower a few months ago. One thing that I've found through my travels in life is that I'm very, very good at sales, and regardless of where I go, what the economy is like, something always needs to be sold. So I was scouring for jobs and places to make money, as I normally do, and I actually came across the Empower Network through the ad tagline in Craigslist of 100% commissions, because as a sales rep, I'm used to about 10 to 12%. So 100%, that's phenomenal, like just insane. So I checked it out, and I listened to Dave Wood's story about coming out of a van and stuff like that as well. And at first I was kind of like, well, I've been burnt on the internet before, and I wasn't looking to do that again at this particular point in my life. I was a starving artist, and not really looking to invest in another portion of my life. So I kind of let it go by for a few months, and I just wanted to make a mention on a side note that it's funny that your two stories are pretty much exactly like ours combined. We have right
Really?
here somebody who
2 years, Bachelor of Science, Nursing, University of
Oh,
Alberta.
wow.
Nice.
That's interesting.
yeah, I was supposed to go into nursing, and the funny thing is that I grew up in northern Alberta, where you grow up, you get into the oil patch, you make $100,000 a year, and by the time you're 35, you're burnt out and broken. And
But you own a house and 3 cars.
Yeah, you own a house and 3 cars, but that's all you have. There's nothing left. Yeah, you can go skidooing in the wintertime, but you're also working 20 hours a day. And it's brutal. And growing up there, when I was 16, I was working the oil rigs, and this idea of being stuck in a camp in the middle of nowhere with a whole bunch of men,
I see what you mean.
icy wasteland of doom, was just not my idea of a good time. So that's kind of when I decided to get into radio broadcasting. So I did that for a while, and graduated in 2007. Unfortunately, the school that I went to went under for fraud. So all of a sudden, my $10,000 education is worth absolutely nothing on paper. So that's kind of when I got into sales, and then ended up coming out to Campbell River on Vancouver Island. And it's funny that you mentioned The Secret in 2010, because in 2010, I was working in sales, and my bosses turned me on to The Secret. In fact, it was their forefront line of teaching in sales: ask, believe, receive. And the law of attraction was really the driving force in their sales mentality. And it's funny too, because at that particular point, I was using the law of attraction whether I knew it or not. It's like, you know what? I want to run a radio station. It's like, oh, hey Travis, you want to run a radio station? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then it's like, oh, all right, well, I want to go out there like now. I don't want to wait a couple months. And they're like, oh, hey Travis, you want to go out there next week? I'm like, yeah, I do.
I want to say that you've got to be careful for what you wish for, because this guy gets everything he asks for all the time, and sometimes it's actually kind of annoying, because it means I have to pack my whole house up in 2 weeks instead of having a month to pack my house up.
I like
That
to
is
do what I want.
awesome.
And the funny thing is, I originally got into radio because I also felt that spark, the same as Reet did. When you hit the stage, the high that you get from being on stage when you feed off the energy of other people is like no other in the world. And I've struggled with addiction a fair chunk of my life, working on the oil rigs. When you're 16 and you have $100,000 a year and you got nowhere to spend your money, you get messed up a lot of the time. So that kind of happened. But anyways, back to the other stuff. And I got into radio to kind of work the back door into the music industry because I didn't want to be playing in clubs, you know, when I'm 40 years old, hoping to get noticed. And though I was using the law of attraction to get what I want, while I was living on the north tip of the island running a radio station, I realized that what I was doing was Plan B. And Will Smith, of all people, showed up randomly in my life through a video, and it was just a small clip, and he said, you can't have a Plan B because it deviates from Plan A.
Distracts.
It distracts from the law of attraction, and even though if you're using the law of attraction, you sometimes don't necessarily get what you intended. This is when I realized that I'm like, oh, man, I was meant to be a musician this whole time. I'll get back into radio when I'm a washed-up musician. So basically just cut my entire radio career, which was going very, very well, just right in half, and moved down to Victoria and was like, I'm going to get myself a band, I'm going to get an album, I'm going to tour across Canada, and that's what I want to do. And
then he did.
Made it happen. So I'm pretty stoked on that, but again, along the way, while I was with my band, being in a band with 5 guys is like being in a relationship with 4 significant others. It's incredibly tedious and hard to get anyone to agree on the same thing. So rather than focusing on the power that you have within inside yourself, you start focusing on other people to make those decisions and push those things forward for you to the point where you're almost dependent on them. And that's exactly what happened, as I did in fact become dependent on them. And there was a little point at near the end of our little band get-together where I was kind of going, you know, like, this isn't, I don't know if this is what I want. You know, these guys are going to kick me out of the band because they all seem to have an issue with me wanting to push them through. And as we all know, when you breed negativity, the law of attraction works the opposite way in which you want it. So needless to say, the band kind of separated, and it gave me the opportunity to
have the
focus and have the time and realize that my power comes from within inside myself. And I met you guys through the label that we were dealing with, and when I heard that you guys were with Empower Network and that you were actually getting results with it, all this stuff just kind of tied together and made me realize that this is just another vessel to get what I want. And me and Arit have very, very similar goals in that fashion, is we want to be able to be creative and do what we want all the time, creatively and musically, but still have the financial backing to do it. Because to be a musician in this day and age, you got to have capital. And this is the perfect vessel to do that, because music is also like it's a product. Your music is a product, and if you can't sell your product
or market your product,
it doesn't matter how good your product is, no one will come to see your show. So the Empower Network is just another product, and as I've been working in sales, it just is all tying together, and I've realized that this is where I got to be, and this is what I have to do.
That is an awesome story. That's so cool how, we're closely related there, and how we're all intertwined. It's so
no
cool.
doubt, right? No doubt.
I didn't even know that.
We all came from very similar places, and we've all ended up in similar spots.
Like you said,
doing what we want to do, right?
Everything that has, happened in our life, all these little nuances and instances have led us to this particular moment right here. And, based on what I've heard from the Empower Network and what's been happening so far, we have experienced not only a lot of personal growth, but there is some amazing things happening that I am really, really excited about, and I'm excited to be here.
I was really hoping we could get the other webcam working because I wanted to show you our living room, which is boxes, just to exemplify exactly our life right now, which is changing very fast. If you join Empower, your life will change very fast.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell them how it's changing? What are you guys doing? What are you guys up to?
Right now, we're packing up our house to move to Richmond so we can be neighbors.
Yeah.
We both are planning on going to school in January. Not because we have to go to school to get a job, to get a house, to have kids, and that whole thing, but because my dream is to own a recording studio. So, with a drum tunnel, that's very important. I've got it like in my head. I'm going to own a recording studio with a drum tunnel because nobody does that anymore. And anybody can record an album in a basement, but nobody else has a drum tunnel. So, we're going to do that. I'm getting a new vehicle. My old beast of a truck finally gave up the goat. And for the first time ever, I'm not like, oh no, my truck's dying. What am I going to do? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just get a new vehicle.
We got lots of money.
We got lots of money, doesn't matter. And the more I say we have lots of money, the more money I have.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of creepy. And I am a very skeptical person. Very, very skeptical. So when he got his hands on The Secret and I heard about it, I was like, I completely dismissed it. Absolutely 100% completely dismissed it. I was like, there's no scientific basis for that. There's no way that's possible. And then I started seeing him get everything he wanted, and I got kind of jealous.
It's funny too because as her truck was dying, she bought the truck off of her brother for $1. It's a fleet truck. The thing rattles and clanks. I swear it's gonna fall apart every time that she starts it. The muffler fell off. Sounds like an airplane. We were driving in Kamloops once, and the wheel wells actually lit on fire as we were driving. You get through all of this, but now at this particular stage in our life. This truck is about to die, and we're going out looking for new cars and stuff like that. And I'm like, you need to get a Honda. When it comes down to it, like there's one vehicle that never dies, and people just absolutely love it. And you hardly see any of them for resale because they're a good car. Get a Honda, get a Honda. So we go to these different car dealerships and stuff like that, and we just get hosed and just led around by car salesmen, which are the worst type of salespeople in the world, all right?
He's done it.
Yeah,
he knows.
It's gross, and don't be a part of it because you're better than that. 100% commissions, not 25% commissions, and realize that you just like put a family in debt for the next 20 years. You don't need to do that, all right? But it's funny. We went to this. We ended up, our last one was a real Honda dealer. So we took a couple cars for a test drive, and she found one that she really liked, a Honda Fit. And
because it fits me.
Because it fits our life. Yay, puns. And through all of this, tedious factoring in and trying to buy this car and going through this, she is getting a brand new, well, it's a 2010 Honda Fit, like pretty much the exact car that she wanted, and she's getting it without having really to pay for it because the universe is just like, oh, you want that? Here you go. You're at a good place in your life, and the law of attraction just keeps giving, man. Just keeps giving.
Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome.
That's just so amazing. Like when you're open to it, and when you just kind of know that something that you're going to be taken care of, it just kind of appears in your life, and that's why gratitude is so important because like you said, when you say that you have a lot of money, it just shows up. It proves you right, right? It's just there, and that's just really cool to hear you guys. And I'm also really proud of you guys too because like you mentioned, Travis, we've worked together in the label recording company that we were with, and so I know I've seen you grow. Like I've seen the person that you were, and then I see you now, and it's just like I'm really proud, and it's really cool to see that growth as well. How or what do you attribute that to? What's a piece of advice that you can give to the viewers, and what's something that you can share from your experience from that?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you very much, and I am super proud of you as well. Since the first time we met until now, you've also grown a ton, and it's really amazing. You and Jewel both, to see what you guys have done, what you've accomplished, and I'm really excited to see where you go from here on out. What I attribute that to is my never-ending quest to be awesome and get whatever I want out of life. My goal since I picked up a guitar. I was engaged at 19 years old, and that ended very, very messily. I come home, all of her stuff's cleared out, and all of my fiance's jewelry was on the table with a note saying, "I'm sorry." Like, brutal, right? But she left her guitar. So I was like, oh, I'm going to start playing guitar. And I found that, heartache makes for really, really good songwriting. Um, and it's funny because 6 months later, I was playing on stage, probably the worst punk grunge rock ever, but it was awesome. And when I got that high, when I felt that spark, like Reed was talking about, I realized that like this is what I'm going to do. I am going to be an entertainer. I am going to use the essence of what I am to not only get whatever I want, but to help open people's eyes and to help them through their lives as well, whether they like it or not. A lot of people are very, very stubborn. They have these ideals. They're sold on ideas that keep them in this little itty-bitty box, and they don't need to be there. And if we all realized as a population what we could accomplish when we just open our eyes and open our minds, we could accomplish so much more as this big united entity, as opposed to fighting over religion, fighting over our nationality, skin color, whatever, man. It's stupid. We're all people, and if we put all this energy together, we can make an impact. And that has been my goal since the beginning. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Yeah.
He wants to get that message out, whether it's through music or public speaking, like the Empower Network guys do the motivational speaking, or through his blog. I personally am an anarchist, and the idea is not abolish the government and let everyone just like do their own thing. The idea behind it is if we all follow the non-aggression principle, which basically means don't screw anybody over, and work together to create what we want instead of paying someone to create what we want, the world will be a much happier and better place. So part of the reason I want to do the Empower Network and why I want to have a studio is because I can influence people who get music and messages out to basically spread the idea of you are more powerful than you think as an individual. You are more powerful than you think as a group. You are as a group.
Freedom. It's all about the freedom. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society where money is the driving force in everything that we do. We could all bang our heads against the wall trying to change it. The fact of the matter is that the guys at the top, they don't want it to change. There's nothing wrong with the system. It's just it was kind of built that way. So if we can understand it and use it to our advantage, then we can again accomplish a lot more. And Dave Wood, the one of the founders of Empower Network, that's what I love about this guy, because you'll be like watching something like the Costa Rica Intensive, and if you haven't gotten it yet, you really, really, really need to grab that, because it will not only change your life, but it'll open your eyes up to everything that we do here. But he said he was talking about this job that he had, and how he's like, I can't be doing this for the rest of my life, and I'd rather be surrounded by a bunch of my friends that hate the government. And at that moment, I knew that we were going to be pals.
Yeah.
And eventually, I am going to be sharing the stage with him at some point, because I kind of really like attention, and I like when everyone looks at me and cheers for me. When we all went on that Eastern tour, like when we were in Quebec, and every once in a while I'd mention something, and the room would just light up. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I need to feel this all the time. And that's something that I can acquire here at the Empower Network.
That's awesome. Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, we all know each other because we went on tour together in, was it June? Was it June? I think it was June. Yeah, we went on a cross Canada tour in June, and Arit was singing, she was a solo artist, and Travis was in a band as well as being host. And I was doing social media, and I was part of the label as staff. And so we traveled together. It's funny because, now we're talking like this in a totally different aspect. And what Arit was saying was from your whole growth. I've seen you grow so much, Travis. You know, it's crazy. I don't really know you that well yet, Miss Blue, but I'm sure I will. And I'm sure from this point on, from when I see you, like I've seen your posts.
We like you already. We like you
And
already.
your posts are, like, I read one of your posts when I was laying in bed one night about how Empower Network changed your life. And I only met you once in Victoria, and I read your post, and it almost made me cry, seriously. Like, it was so powerful. I was like, wow, I was so happy for you. I don't even really know you, but I was just so happy because of what's happening to you guys, and how this is changing you guys for the good. And me and Rita are always talking about you guys, and we're excited for your journey, and it's amazing. Like, when did you guys join? Like, very recently, right?
Just over a month ago.
Yeah.
And how has it changed your life?
Would you feel comfortable telling them what you told me about your dad?
No. I don't remember what I told you, and no, I wouldn't be comfortable.
The forgiveness factor. To put it as vague as possible, Miss Blue for a long time has held on to a lot of aggression due to things
Not
that
really aggression, just negative emotions. I didn't have the best childhood, and I spent years and years and years of my life battling like super bad mental illness and
depression.
Well, that was like the least worst part of it. And my parents were like not supportive and didn't know how to deal with it, and some of the things they did to me were pretty brutal and took me years and years to realize that I didn't have to let that affect how I live now. So the Empower Network has actually helped me to get through this like switch over where all this negative emotion was holding me back, and now now that I've kind of let go of that, I can move forward in a more positive way and get more of the things I want to do done, and be not necessarily be more who I want to be, because I've always been very honest about who I was, but more like I have the ability to do the things I want to do, and I don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, and I think it really goes back to we're brought up in a society where because of things that have happened in our past, we are taught that that's just the way it is, and that's what makes us what we are. Whether you have a bad childhood and your dad beats you, or you're verbally abused, or your mom was an alcoholic, or everyone's got 1,000 different reasons as to why they are the way they are, and they let that control them throughout their entire life.
Callie, be quiet.
Sorry, our dog's being
Can you
crazy.
hear my dog growling?
I thought that was a car.
Yeah, me too.
No, that's my dog.
Or something.
Yeah, you guys will meet her soon enough. Yeah. But
the victim mentality, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's and like especially like with what Heather was saying, was that being part of the Empower Network has really helped us and helped her realize that these particular types of feelings and how you feel is a choice. It's not something that's built in and hammered into you because of your life experiences, because you can always have more experiences, and you can choose to break free from those shackles, and just go above and beyond. You don't have to sit again in that little box, because there's so much more out there.
You don't have to be poor. You don't have to be unhappy with your life. You don't. One of the most powerful things anyone's ever told me is you don't have to do anything. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but once you realize that you don't have to do your dishes. I mean, you have to suffer or deal with the consequences if you choose not to, but you don't have to go to work. You have to deal with the consequence if you run out of money and can't pay rent, but you don't have to. And when you put everything into that perspective, you can live deliberately and make deliberate choices about what you want to spend your time doing and how you want to do the things you do. So you'd be like, oh, I don't want to do the dishes. Or you can be like, well, yeah, I don't have to do the dishes, but I want to do the dishes. I don't want moldy dishes, so I want to do these things. And it translates into everything you do, from making a sale or writing a blog or finding the money for a new vehicle. It's a choice you make.
And when you realize that everything that you do and you have the ability to make choices like that and everything that you do is a choice, it allows you to choose to take action in your life to accomplish more.
Yeah, no, I agree. Life gets so amazing when you realize that. I used to, people who've just met me recently, and I have a past too. I was depressed and all that, and very unhappy. When I was depressed, when I was working in downtown, I had, my own little office cubicle, getting paid very well, right? I had all the free time at work, but I was for some reason actually depressed, and I didn't tell anyone. No one knew that I was going through this, like, in my head, because I didn't want people to think I was weird, or I didn't even tell Reed that I was depressed. And what's funny was, a week before I left, I actually called the counseling services, like, in secret, requesting, that I needed some psychological help because I didn't know why I was so unhappy. I didn't understand why every day when I would go to work, I would just feel so sad and not want to do anything and just mope around and just be disgusted, like, with my life. And what's funny was, I scheduled my call for the 12 p.m. on February 28th. And on February 28th at 9 a.m. was when I was let go from my job. So I didn't even get to make that counseling session or whatever because I was already free. I was free that morning. And what's crazy was, so I got fired at 9 a.m., right, February 28th. I didn't have to do the 12 p.m. counseling thing that I had scheduled a week before, and a month before that I had contemplated doing it for so long, and I finally scheduled it. And so February 28th was the day I left, and at 6 p.m. on that day, we had a meeting with a client, and that's when we made our very, very first sale in Essetino Connections.
Wow.
And that was just like a day. When that happened, I knew that everything happened for a reason, and I was supposed to go through this. And it was just a major sign from the universe, and I've never looked back since then. It was horrifying, and it was lots of crying, lots of emotion, but I'd go through it again to get where I am right now. So yeah, everyone has a past, and I choose not to let that hold me back. There's a lot of crap, I used to be beat too when I was younger, right? That's kind of the way when you're Filipino. And it wasn't with the hand either. It was like big long wooden mallet. But I don't let that take me down. I just laugh about it now. I say it made me stronger, But yeah, I just wanted to, we're coming up here on the hour on the call. Just want to get some final words from you guys. So if anyone's on the fence about joining Empower, they don't know what it is, or maybe they know a little bit, they've watched the video, but they're watching this video right now, and they're watching you guys, what would you say to them?
There's two things I want to say, and then I'll let Travis do his thing. First of all, Empower is real. It has the potential to make you more than financially secure. But more important to me, you get more out of it than you put into it. The way it will change your life isn't just financially, although that's awesome. It will make you a different person. And that can be scary, but it's amazing when you listen to the audios and you find yourself acting more confidently and speaking more confidently and believing in yourself and your life and the future instead of living in fear.
Yeah, living in fear is no good, no good. I'm gonna lean forward a little bit for this because I want you, anyone watching this, I want you to know specifically that if you're on the fence or you're thinking about doing this, that you just need to do it. Don't be on the fence anymore, because people that are on the fence their entire lives, they settle for mediocrity and they end up making $40,000 a year. They end up working at the lumber mill, and the lumber mill is going to close because the industrial age, the manufacturing age, it's all gone. All right? We're going into a new wave of economy. We're going into a new wave of the way things work. And the Empower Network is going to be on the forefront lines of that particular wave. Everything is about to change. The way people look at the internet, the way people make money, the way me and you look at each other. Look at this right now. We're not even in a room right now, and we're talking to each other. So what do you think that that's particularly doing to the world of sales, to the world of business? It's changing, and you have to change with it. There are big things coming. And I saw I'm not. One of you guys put up a post the other day that said you can either choose to be a player or a spectator in the game of life. Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Thank you very much. It was Aretha that put that up, and it's so true. You can be a player, you can be a spectator, you can watch on the sidelines your entire life and wonder why nothing ever happened to you, and be bitter about the fact that you never got that break. Or you can act right now, you can sign up with Empower, you can change your life in every little aspect, and you can do what it takes to make yourself a better person, be a better person for your family, provide for your family better, spend more time with your family, go on vacations, do whatever you want to do, grace that stage, buy that guitar, buy a car, do whatever you want. It's up to you. You can make the choice, and the choice is yours, but you should do it.
In our society, money is freedom. Be free.
That's what we have.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on the call with us and sharing your story. It was the first time I was hearing your guys' story, and that's so cool that we're so connected. I feel even more connected now that I know the little pieces of the dots. Arit, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to talk, mention about Blog Beast, which is coming up.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything further in terms of wrapping up this hangout because, Travis or I should say Lucius Blackworth and Miss Blue just did an amazing job right there. There you have it. Like, that's just real right there. This is not fake, you guys. This is not a scam. We're all real people here, just speaking our truth and speaking from our hearts. So I'm going to leave it at that. And with Blog Beast, yes, some of you, you might have picked up on this call that, something really, really big is about to happen in Empower Network. Something really big is coming. There's a wave that's about to hit, and it's going to change internet marketing history. It's going to change the internet. It's going to change a lot of things. And the people who decide and who make that choice to be at the forefront of that wave will profit the most. And it's not just about money, like you heard Heather say. It's not just about, I'm not just talking about finances. I'm talking about, your spirituality. I'm talking about you helping other people. I'm talking about you, just emanating your truth, who you are, and just being you, just being true to yourself, and just living and leading a happier, healthier life. Just being fun. Life is meant to be fun. You're meant to enjoy life. It's not meant to be like moping ground. So that's what Blog Beast is. It's a new platform that they're rolling out. And we're going to include Travis and Heather's link at the bottom there. It's going to be a link that is going to allow you to stay in the loop with us. So if you want to know what this is, what this platform is, what it is, and when it's going to be coming out, you can just click on the link below and then enter your name and email address, and you'll be kept apprised and notified of anything to do with the Blog Beast. And I am telling you, you want to be notified of when this hits, because when it does, you're going to hear about it everywhere. Everywhere. This is going to be bigger than Facebook. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be bigger than Facebook. So that's all I wanted to say, and we're going to wrap this up. I just want to thank everybody for their time on this Hangout, and thank you as well to the viewers who are watching this. And if no one else anything else to say, I think we're good to wrap this up, hey? And say goodbye.
I had one more thing to say.
Go for it.
I just want to say, if you guys are watching this video because of Black and Blue, you want to sign up under them, okay? These guys are real. We know them. We've met them before. They're awesome people, and they're speaking from their hearts right now. They just told you their story. So if you're watching this because of them, like Travis said, don't be on the fence, because you'll be on the fence your entire life. Decide to take action now and sign up under them. Their link will be below this video, and you won't regret it. All right? Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys again for watching, and like I always say in every video, I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.